Okay, hello everyone. This is Pete Wormter with QuandaGo. I look after the marketing function, and I want to thank you all for joining our latest webinar. Our topic today will be how to turn customer insights into action in the contact center and beyond. I'm happy to share some insights and some best practices with you. We're also very pleased to have our QuandaGo customer to join us as well, Mark van de Kleitzen, and I hope, Mark, I pronounced your name properly. Mark will join us for Q&A, and we will have a bit of a real-world discussion around our topic and hopefully provide some examples and some insights for those of you that you can take with you after the session. So we're gonna jump right in. I'll introduce Mark later on in the session, but just very briefly, we wanted to talk today about really the customer data disconnect that we see out there. I think that many of you are dealing with every day, both running customer service organizations and contact centers, but I think we even see it as consumers in our own day-to-day lives. And I'm someone who's been in the contact center industry for a number of years. I won't say how many, but it is amazing, I think, over the years how this continues to be a challenge and continues to get complex. And we'll talk a little bit about what we're facing in this area. We'll talk about really what's next and some of how we see the industry moving and a bit of our vision around a connected experience, which some of you may be familiar with. And then we want to really get prescriptive and share some info. So really how you can get there in terms of bringing your insights together for your agents and customers. And then again, as I mentioned, we'll talk with Mark on his experience and some of the cool things they're doing over at Della. As always, we welcome questions. You can submit those through the chat here, and we will open it up for those that want to ask any questions at the end. So let's move on and jump in. I wanted to start with a slide we use quite a bit here at QuandaGo. You may have seen it before, but it really kind of sets things and sets the tone at a pretty high level. And it is stats from our friends over at Salesforce, from their report on the state of the connected consumer. And this is a global survey they do every year. And they're one of the most compelling stats we see from that is this one here, where, you know, when asked around customer experience today, 81% said they believe companies still deliver a disconnected experience. So whether you believe that's 60, 70, or 80, the perception and the number is still pretty high. And, you know, we believe a really huge opportunity for companies to continue to refine the customer experience, to get more value out of delivering a great customer experience, to differentiate their company with a great experience. So we don't necessarily view this as a bad thing. We view it as, you know, as an opportunity. Having said that, when you look a little deeper, you have to ask, so why do customers feel this way? And, you know, these are some of the reasons. There's certainly more. But, you know, when we look at what's happened over the years and the evolution of the call center, the contact center, the technology and applications related to it, it's certainly become more sophisticated, but also more complex, especially for agents. So today, agents can use 10 or more desktops and systems to serve a single customer. Even if it's 4 or 5, you could argue the number is too high and really requires an agent to do a lot of movement around different systems. And, you know, scenarios where they can spend up to a third of their time searching for information. And worse, this can happen while customers are waiting on the other line. So this is a problem that's existed, but it's gotten more challenging for companies, frankly, and agents, unfortunately, are still the ones kind of left to manage through this, and they're working hard to get through it, but we're developing and trying to bring solutions that will make their lives easier. On the customer side of this, there's also increasing complexity. Everyone talks about digital engagement. We talked about multi-channel contact centers 10, 15 years ago, and we knew it was coming. I think the reality of today, it's not only here, it's pretty expansive. So bullet number 3 here, a customer uses an average of 6 touch points, with half of customers using 4 or more. And when you think about that, if you just take a step back, at least for me, I can say, okay, well, I certainly call the contact center. I use email. I have a mobile app that I use certainly with my bank quite often. I'm happy to engage with a chatbot at a website or an agent chat. So very easily you can get up to 4 or 5 more touch points, and we're all doing it, and all customers are doing it. At the same time, we crave efficiency. We don't want to repeat information. We don't want to be transferred around. And when we do call, especially with a problem, as you know, and consumers want resolution as quickly as possible. So those are really the challenges from a QuandaGo standpoint, and our view of the world and where we see things going. We see this evolution. It's moved from customer service through to customer experience, and that continues to be a strategic focus for companies and will continue to be. However, we see a need, based on a lot of what I've just talked about and those challenges, to connect this experience and really bring it together. And we do that in a few different ways. This gives you an idea, really, of what we mean, and really, all the different things that need to happen within a company and externally to really connect today's customer experience and bring down these barriers between customers, agents, and even the back office and the rest of the company. So from the QuandaGo view, this means engaging with customers over any channel in an omni-channel fashion. It centers around personalization and communicating and engaging those customers in really an individual or one-to-one type fashion. Providing agents with the information they need to serve those customers, bringing it together to them in a central place, and bringing all of it together, not just parts of it, to give them that complete view. Moving on and helping that agent by processing, automating common tasks and processes, and even more complex customer journeys as needed. Helping agents with next best actions, suggested actions, and assisting them with after call work and some of the administrative things they do. And really, kind of reaching this point where you're having that continuous one-to-one conversation with your customers. So that's what we mean by connected experience. The great news is this is happening today. This can be done today. For the webinar, we're going to talk a little bit about the first half of the journey here to a connected experience. So the pieces in the yellow box here around engagement, around bringing your data together for agents in a unified desktop, and then starting to automate some processes to make things more efficient. So if we can move on, we do this really, we think, in a unique way. We do it in a way that's more than what we believe a pure contact center vendor or player can provide. And it certainly starts, and the contact center is a critical element here. And managing your interactions across channels and across touch points is absolutely critical component. But bringing the knowledge together from all sources, CRM apps, back office apps, external third parties, wherever that may be for your business, bringing those together in a secure way, making it available to your agents in a single place, and then using that data to automate processes, help your agents accelerate workflows, and get better connectivity between the contact center and other parts of the business to get work done to serve the customer. In terms of how you get there and the steps you need to take, this is what we want to talk about in a little more detail today. And it's centered around the knowledge piece in the middle leg of what I just talked about. But, you know, it touches really all these areas of interactions, knowledge, data, and of course, process. But it starts with collecting the data, and there's more data than ever before. You'll see that. You know that. I mean, customer data is really everywhere. And, you know, I remember the days when you were integrating a single CRM app and maybe some ERP data. Those days, as you know, are over when you look at the number of applications out there, the channels, messaging platforms, every company virtually having a mobile app these days. So customer data is everywhere. And, you know, it's a valuable asset, and it's an asset that, you know, we all can tap into to generate business value, certainly from a customer experience perspective. So knowing that this data is everywhere, you know, step one is really collecting the data. So I want to talk a little bit about, you know, kind of the old world and what's new and how it's different today, and how you can approach this in a new way. So as I mentioned earlier, the old world of data collection was, you know, typically involved very disconnected, monolithic applications. So I think of even the days of CRM before Salesforce, before Zendesk, and the cloud players, back to Siebel, PeopleSoft, and some of those days. It was a pretty labor-intensive process. PS teams were involved, the IT department. There was some adapters and, you know, tools that the software vendors provided to make it easier, but, you know, it was still pretty difficult. It made data difficult to access. It made it difficult to use between systems and share. And, you know, it's certainly difficult to secure. So today, we mentioned all the data sources. You know, with the technology we have with leveraging the cloud, leveraging APIs, and just a general more open approach to applications, we're able to incorporate really all data. So this means all data across interaction channels. And if something happens on an email, making sure your agent knows that when they get on the phone the next time with the customer. And, you know, keeping track of that both historically and in the moment when the customer is on the phone with an agent, and incorporating, again, third-party sources and other application data, leveraging APIs to do that. And then, you know, the key is being able to kind of centralize that and making what's relevant and necessary to serve the customer available to your agents in a single place. So we can get there today, and the benefits around agent efficiency and better customer experience are really clear as you pull these things together. Step two, around analyzing the data. So in many ways, you know, that old world was less informed and less predictable. And we know we can overcome those two things today. So we had limited connectivity. Agents really still had to hunt for answers. They didn't really get a lot of help. And, you know, they determined what the next best steps were. And they often had to do that based on limited knowledge or an incomplete picture. or, based on what they felt was the right thing to do. And, we knew, and we know we can provide more help to them. So today, by collecting this data, bringing it into a central place, having the ability to perform analytics and apply business rules, we can enable this more complete view for customers, both in the moment as well as the history of interactions. Really give that agent the ability to better understand that individual customer and what they need, and importantly, what they need in that moment, by providing full context, again, at every interaction level, and really across that customer journey. And then, again, providing some analytics and business rules and suggested actions that can help and be really data-driven to move that customer journey forward. So that's really where you get into step 3 and taking action. And, the data integration is great, and having your data in a central place is great. Knowing everything, or as much as possible, is great. But if you don't take action, it doesn't really matter. So, and that's really the key here. And that's where process automation can come into play. That's where smarter decision-making can come into play. And really moving from this old world, a little bit of where agents are in this do-it-yourself world. They're taking a lot of time. They have to intake the task, understand what it's about. They really have to do all the work to solve it. It's essentially reactive, and it's pretty manual, involving a lot of lower value work. So when you bring in process automation, more data and more intelligence, you can impact the experience really right from the get-go. So that routing decision, when that customer contacts you, regardless of channel, draws upon real-time and historical data right away, makes that decision to get that customer to the right agent, who, by the way, has a unified desktop and is ready to serve that customer the minute they're connected. You use intelligent process automation then to automate some of the common tasks. Those can be assisting with customer onboarding, compliance checks, helping complete forms and things on the back end to save the time for agent, and really allowing that agent to focus on higher value work, solving complex problems. It might be related to a sales transaction and closing a transaction, a return. These types of customer use cases can greatly be assisted by using data and applying some automation capability. So that's, a little bit of how we see the world moving, both from a prescriptive way and, not, I think, shouldn't be terribly surprising, but, building a strategy around collecting data from all your sources, analyzing it, understanding how to serve that customer, what needs to happen, and taking action with both augmentation of intelligence and automating tasks. So we can move to the next slide. I don't want to throw too much of a product pitch out there. The technology is out there today. Many of you are existing QuandaGo customers. You can do this today. I mentioned, some of why we believe we're unique versus just a pure contact center provider. It's important to bring this stuff together, taking kind of a single solution approach where you have your contact center, but the knowledge is built in, and then you can connect in process automation. Of course, a cloud-based solution, managing cross-channel, omni-channel interactions in a centralized place, and applying automation. Things you can do today with QuandaGo. So from here, I want to kind of shift the discussion over to more of a real-world conversation. If we can move to the next slide, I want to bring Mark from Della in. Hello, Mark. Hopefully you are there.
Yes, Pete, I'm here. Thank you for the invite.
Excellent. Thank you for being with us and sharing some of your experience with the group here. So maybe we'll just jump right in, Mark. But maybe at a high level, can you give us a little more information around Della, your business, and then specifically your role at the company?
Yes, Dela is a corporation with over 3 million members. We offer insurance and services like funeral insurance and funeral care services, as well as saving insurance and term life insurance. And our goal is to give our members a great customer experience service, regardless of the channel they choose to engage with us. And our goal is to unburden our customer by making it easy to do business with us. For this reason, the customer contact center is very important for us and our business. My role in the company focuses on business improvement for contact center applications, including process automation. And my main objective is to improve and maintain our contact center systems and to help with questions from my key stakeholders and how technology can better support our business. If the business wants some changes or improvements, I translate it to IT and find a solution.
Okay, interesting. So Della, in the insurance business, obviously and it always has been, a very data-driven business. But can you tell us a little bit more specifically about the ways that data plays a role in Della's business? How critical is it?
Yeah, as an insurer, it should be no surprise that customer data is critically important for us. For Dela, customer data is required and used across our business in more ways than ever before, and it's stretched across the customer journey. This includes improving the application process. At Dela, the customer journey starts with the application process. By making customer data more easily accessible to our agents and automating steps in the process, we are able to deliver much faster response time in the application approval process. For example, by automating the collection of some health-related questions that are part of the application process, we were able to reduce the need for manual labor by 80% during this process. Also, we are automating manual checks performed by agents. From an operational standpoint, we are now able to make a better use of data and automation to reduce the amount of work performed by agents, while also improving accuracy. This includes ensuring the customer due diligence is complete as part of the application process and assisting agents with suggested actions and the completion of common application tasks. For this critical first step in the customer journey, automation helps us ensure we do not miss any required information or leave it up to the agent alone to collect all the right compliance information. We also use the data better predicting and forecasting contact center volumes and resource needs. With the data we have today, all in a central place, we can better plan our contact center workloads, including knowing the expected interaction volumes and the staff required to maintain our service level objectives and business goals. For example, if we send out 100,000 customer emails, we can forecast what the impact is on our contact center traffic and how many agents we need to handle the expected increase. We also overall process improvement and optimization. Another example of that is around improving contact center efficiency using what we call process mining. In this case, we were able to analyze what's happening in the contact center and look for ways to improve the customer experience with better information or automation of tasks for agents. This allows us to identify and take action on any customer experience problems or process issues that may come up much faster like this. We also measure customer satisfaction. Data also use interaction data as part of the customer satisfaction measurement process. We use metrics like Net Promoter Score. and leverage the data to generate more insights on customer satisfaction and what actions we can take to improve. Yeah, as you can see from this example, just how important customer data is to Dela's business and the overall customer experience these days. We only expect this trend to continue.
Yeah, look, I think it kind of goes back to the points at the beginning here. I mean, data coming in from a lot of sources, but it's an opportunity. And I think as you know, we can see from improving very specific processes like customer onboarding or applications to more general things to even customer satisfaction measurements. So interesting and good information. Thank you for that, Mark. Let's look about maybe kind of the situation at Della before moving over to QuandaGo. What were some of the customer data challenges Della was facing? How did it impact the agent, and of course, how did it impact the customer?
Yeah, before QuandaGo, we really lacked good insight into our customer interactions and engagement. We use a lot of different systems and even use Excel spreadsheets to track information and serve the customer. Yeah, for our agent, there was a lot of manual administrative work required for very simple tasks. Also, for our contact center management, there was a lack of insight on expected contact center interaction volumes and workloads. This, yeah, make it very difficult to plan ahead and run a cost-effective customer service operation.
Interesting. Can you tell us a little more about how you got this done, and some of the specifics around the customer journey before you made these changes?
Yeah, in the old situation, the customer service agent had to get the information out of multiple systems using multiple desktops. Yeah, because the information was not centralized and accessible in one system. So the agent had to search for answers, and customers were forced to wait longer to get this done. Also, agents had limited visibility into previous interactions if a customer called back into the contact center. And yeah, this forced agents to repeat questions and customers to retell their stories. Yeah, the administrative tasks previously required also took up a lot of agent time, and yeah, were very costly for the company as a result. Yeah, automation helped here by offloading manual tasks for agents.
So let's kind of fast forward to today, and how you're doing things differently, and more importantly, how is it different really for your customers and your agents, and some of the improvements that help change the customer experience.
Yeah, with the help of QuandaGo, dialogue management capability, our agents can now quickly go through the process and interaction needed to complete the insurance application process, for example. Yeah, they now have easy access to a rich knowledge base that quickly helps suggest and provide answers to customer questions, with the ability to attach comments with each interaction for tracking and enabling a complete context of customer interactions. This enables agents to focus more on the customer and less on performing manual tasks. Agents also have full context on the customer and where they are in the application process. So if a customer has multiple interactions with the call center, there's no repeating of information or going backwards in the customer journey. Agents can also import the answer from the knowledge base directly into an email or a letter to the customer to be more efficient and reduce mistakes during the after-call work. And yeah, finally, the centralized data and unified desktops reduces the need for training and makes it easier for multiple agents to work on the same customer journey.
Interesting. And how, maybe just a side question, but how has the change impacted the agents? Do you get a sense the agents appreciate the tool or getting that better experience?
Yeah, the agents are more satisfied. They have all the information in front of them, and they don't have to use all of the different systems or the Excel, or let the customer tell a story again. So they are more satisfied with the work, and we also see it on our satisfied customer that it's that we can help them better. We see a rise of our Net Promoter Score.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting, interesting. It looks like we got a one question that came in here, Mark, over chat. You know, how did you determine what data and what to really to look for within the data to make some of these changes?
Sorry, the question was, I'll look it up.
Yeah, how do you, in the chat, how do you know what to look for within your data? So maybe were you looking for anomalies, maybe you saw processes that were taking longer than you would expect them to take, those types of metrics.
Yeah, in the process mining, we can see if there's an application, and we see by example that 20% of the customers don't finish the application. We can see in what piece of the workflow, the application process, they're going away. So we can more focus on that, what we have to improve to get the customer to fully do the application and become a customer at Dela.
Okay, good, good. Okay, hopefully Team CC, thank you for that question. I hope it answers it. Maybe a last question for you, Mark, a little bit on a view into the future. Where do you see maybe automation, data integration? Where do you go from here?
And in the future, we want to automate more process so the customer service agent can completely focus on our customer and not with administration. So we are very busy to improve all our processes, and in the need to have the focus for the agent on the customer and not with the administration task.
Right. Okay, well, thank you very much. That's the last question. I'll monitor the chat box here again if there are any additional questions you have for us and for Mark specifically. We're happy to answer that. As always, we do thank you for joining us. We hope these sessions are informative. Again, they're not intended to be product pitches. Having said that, these are capabilities and these are all things you can do today. Dela is doing it, and we're happy to give a demo and show you this in more real terms from a technology perspective. So reach out to us if you're interested in that. We'd be happy to show you. From here, I am going to close things out. We plan another webinar again in about a month or so. We'll probably move our topic down that customer journey to process automation more specifically. In the meantime, we're happy to engage. We have our blog, and we'll share this webinar replay and other content on this topic. So stay tuned, and thank you again for joining. Bye-bye.